When you hear the word samurai, you probably think of these epic duels, unshakable honor, maybe a life of grand adventure. But what if I told you that for most of them, it was less about glory and more like the world's most dangerous, grueling, lifelong career? So let's climb this very rickety career ladder and see what the job really looked like.
Okay, let's just get one thing straight right out of the gate. If your entire idea of a samurai comes from movies and video games, the cool poses, the dramatic last stands, you might want to buckle up. The reality was a whole lot messier, and trust me, a whole lot more painful.
And honestly, that's putting it mildly. Forget those serene one-on-one duels in a quiet bamboo forest. Real samurai battles were just pure, organized chaos. It was less of a graceful dance and way, way more like a mosh pit where everybody has very sharp objects. So where does this career even begin? Well, it starts right at birth. There's no application process, no interview. This is less of an unpaid internship and more like a mandatory life sentence that you're just born into. The moment you're born into a samurai family, your father isn't exactly celebrating a future warrior. He's probably sighing at another mouth to feed during some really chaotic times. In this world, your entire life is already mapped out for you. Think helicopter parents are tough? Try samurai parents. Your onboarding starts now. Your childhood is basically just a series of brutal milestones. By age 5, you're not playing with toys, you're learning to sit perfectly still for hours on end. At 6, you get that iconic top knot, which feels less honorable and more like your head is just poorly balanced. And by 7, you're in the dojo. And that's where the real fun begins. While other kids are, being kids, your reality is a world of pain and public humiliation. Forget cozy days inside. You're spending hours sitting in the Caesar position until your legs feel like they're on fire. And those cool new hakama pants? Oh yeah, they're basically a built-in trip hazard, guaranteed to make you fall on your face. And you would fall on your face, a lot. Training was just a constant highlight reel of your most spectacular failures. Every slip-up, every awkward faceplant, that wasn't a mistake, oh no. It was a character-building moment, as your master would probably say with a perfectly straight face. So after years of this brutal training, you finally get your first promotion. You're officially an adult warrior now. But hey, congratulations, your suffering is just getting a major upgrade. This whole thing is called genpuku. It's a ceremony where you get a new, very serious-sounding name and a mountain of responsibilities that make your training days look like a nice little vacation. You might be an adult on paper, but you're still mostly just trying not to trip over your own sword. And with adulthood comes armor. It is not sleek, it is not cool, it's like fighting from inside a tin can that's actively trying to crush you. Just sitting down, it becomes a huge project, and standing back up, that's basically an Olympic event. All right, so you're finally in your first battle. And all those elegant, sophisticated moves you practiced for years? Yeah, just throw them right out the window. Your new strategy boils down to one simple, elegant goal. Try not to die. It's a messy, chaotic scrum where survival, not style, is the only thing that matters. Now, if you manage to survive a few battles, you climb the ladder, and the whole nature of the fight changes. The swords start to matter less, and the real danger is in the council rooms and the tea ceremonies. Welcome to middle management samurai style. All of a sudden, the battlefield has completely shifted. Every single formal gathering is an absolute minefield. You thought facing an army was stressful? Try remembering the exact angle you need to bow without offending some powerful lord and accidentally starting a clan war. The real enemy isn't a rival army anymore. It's proper etiquette. And of course, your personal life is also just a strategic decision. Your marriage is arranged to secure some alliance, and it just so happens your new wife is incredibly skilled with a polearm. Let's just say your first dinner together is less about romance and more about making sure your table manners are absolutely perfect. And then comes your first leadership role. You're put in charge of troops, and they all expect you to have some grand, brilliant plan. You don't. You have nothing. You basically just try to look confident while you're panicking on the inside. But through sheer dumb luck, your chaotic tactic actually confuses the enemy and you win. And just like that, you're hailed as a tactical genius. After years of faking it and somehow surviving, you finally reach the senior level of your career. You're older, you're wiser, and everything hurts. The corner office for a samurai is less about a nice view and more about managing your chronic joint pain. At this stage, your body is really starting to give you some feedback.
That lightning-fast draw you were famous for, it now comes with a lovely side of aching joints. You're not getting slower, of course. No. You're just practicing strategic energy conservation. At least that's what you tell all the younger warriors.
But this is where experience really pays off. Some young hotshot full of speed and flashy moves comes for your reputation, and while he's busy dancing around, you use decades of experience to end the duel with one single, brutally efficient move. When he asks you how you did it, you just give him some vague philosophical nonsense. Hey, you've earned the right to be annoyingly wise.
And finally, we reach the end of this absolutely brutal career path: retirement. But for a samurai, the biggest lessons aren't learned on the battlefield, but in the quiet moments that come much, much later.
Your last great battle isn't a battle at all. It's a tense council meeting where you manage to prevent a war, not with threats, but with wisdom. You finally, truly understand that real strength lies in preventing a conflict, not just winning one. Which brings us to the ultimate question, right? After a life that's been defined by pain, by politics, by the constant threat of death, what was the final takeaway from this terrible, all-consuming career? What did you really learn?
And there it is. That's the ultimate truth of the samurai career ladder. It was never really about becoming the perfect warrior. It was about enduring everything the world could possibly throw at you, just to finally gain the wisdom that, most of the time, the sword was rarely the answer. And that right there is a lesson that's probably worth a lifetime of hardship.